Hey guys, Comet here. Welcome back to Alchemy Factory. This is episode 5 now. The shop's got a perfect reputation, really liking that. That's because I redid it in the last episode. I have these new logistics hallways now. So the items will just flow along the main bus here, vertically stacked. Elevators will pull them off into their respective boxes, and I can just go and grab items if I need them here. Or over here, I guess, is a better example. And that just goes through the wall into the catapults and is auto restocked on these shelves here. But I really like the way that the shop turned out. And it seems like a lot of people in the comments also liked it. So I had to move all of the Legacy Factory stuff over here. I've got linen, rope, potions, glass, brick, everything over here being made. But I am noticing a fertilizer shortage. And so a lot of these planters aren't getting full throughput. So I definitely want to redo, or at least improve, the fertilizer production here. But I'm kind of out of space. So I think one of the last things I said I was going to do in the previous episode was work on the building tool here. That costs steel, though. And that will allow me to build more vertically by unlocking the pillar. I could also go and buy these plots back here for more space. But I don't have the money for it at the moment, I don't think. Yeah, I've only got one gold piece. That's not enough for all of those plots. So we'll build up for now. I think I'll just use this space above the shop. Put in a quick little steel build. That way I can unlock the pillar. And maybe by then I'll actually just have enough money in the shop to buy those. But steel is made in an athanor that has to be built on top of a furnace. This recipe is iron ingots plus coke powder. I'm making a lot of coke powder there. I think I'll be fine on coke powder. It turns into steel and more iron. Now this iron can be run back to the input to reduce iron consumption on the input side. That can really easily be done with a priority merger. So the yellow input is the yellow output there is the steel. And the blue output here is the iron. So I'll take the iron, run it through a merger, just like that. And then the top input there can supplement the missing iron that the athanor needs. And then it should just be petroleum coke on this side, so a belt for the furnace. I need the iron to plug in there. And the beauty of this is that it's actually tileable. If I copy this, I can fit another one right here, and even another one right there. So I think I'll go with something symmetrical, kind of like this. I can run all of these steel outputs together and out a central line. And then the supplemental iron can just be run like this into the mergers. Alright, so a quick little steel build here. I just have some elevators to get the coke powder up to the top. So it just takes two inputs, coke powder and iron. And I should get steel out. I'll just put that into some boxes here. And this isn't meant to be a permanent setup. It's just enough steel to get me going. So I'm just going to hand feed iron and coke powder for now. But if I copy this, I think I'm going to put it in this orientation. Right about here. Go grab some iron and some coke powder. Throw the iron into the top box, coke powder into the bottom box. But it looks to be working now. I've got some steel stocked up. I need 30 ingots to get the better building tool. So I'll wait for this to stock up. And in the meantime, I think I'm going to unlock the metal stand. So I'll take this, go into this. That enables a lot of vertical building. Can make all of my factories more compact. Got 35 ingots. Let's get the better building tool. Alright, and that was the last one. So now it's just inventory, gloves, and potion belt. Potion belt and inventory take the transformation potion. Not going to be getting into that in this episode, probably. Gloves take soap. Do I have enough soap built up yet? It does not appear so, because, right, no fertilizer. So fertilizer is my top priority right now. I guess I'll get to work designing something. I'll just use this space up here. Now, advanced fertilizer takes 15 gloom fungus and 15 basic fertilizer. Basic fertilizer is made at 15 a minute, so that's just a 1-to-1 connection. But this takes quicklime and plant ash. And it looks like plant ash is made at 20 a minute. So if I had one furnace with 3 crucibles, that would be 60 a minute. That means I could have 4 of these. Then it is the quicklime powder. That is made at, only 6.7 a minute. So 60 divided by 6.7 comes out to, looks like almost 9. So that would be another 1, 2, 3 furnaces. So that I could fit 9 crucibles. Oh, go away. And then all I need is the gloom fungus. So this is 60 as well. That is made in the table saw at 6 a minute. So I would need 10 table saws to feed enough gloom fungus into this. But I can stack those now using the metal stand. And every single one of these is going to need a filtered output. I think I'll send the gloom fungus out of the top. And if you're struggling to put a metal stand on top of a table saw, just get it in place vertically and then just Z-axis down and you can pop it in place. The problem is that the cursor is looking at the table saw, not the ground, and the stand needs to snap to the ground in order to be placed. But then I think I also need one more slot for the purchasing portal. Like that. I like this. And this can be stacked. But I want this to be quite robust, so I think I'm going to go really big and actually just double everything now that I can stack. So double the furnaces, double the crucibles, double the assemblers. That would mean double the table saws. So instead of 10, I would need 20. And these produce 24 planks a minute. I just want to be careful not to saturate the plank belt. I could do 4 by 5, and then 120 divided by 24, yeah, is 5. So I could fit 5 of these in a matrix pattern like this, so 4x5, then I'll run all of the wood outputs in one direction, and I can run all of the gloom fungus out in the opposite direction. So something like this, I would have 4 outputs of wood here, all full belts, and then 4 outputs of gloom fungus here. But if the table saw only does 6 a minute of gloom fungus, then a whole row would be 5 times 6, 30. And I've got 4 rows, so 4 times 30 is 120. So all of the gloom fungus can actually combine into a single belt before going into the assemblers. I like this stack, it's nice and dense. Now I just have to figure out how to stack the assemblers. The problem is that the metal stand doesn't like to cooperate, because these are a 2x2 by 3. So it needs to be 3 tall to get the stand over it, but it has the same footprint as the smaller stand. So I could do something like this and leave a gap, but then it takes up extra horizontal space, and I'm not a big fan of that. I could try doing something with these beams. Let me try and make a little thingy here. So the really long beam fits all 8 underneath. That's actually really nice. Because then I could take these out, put them on top, and then put these below them. But if I flip this... Oh, I'm cooking now. Put them in this orientation, I can use a conveyor lift to get the output into there. And then another conveyor lift to get the second input. So this could be gloom shrooms along here. The output, the basic fertilizer, just gets sent up and in. I just need to figure out the inputs here. I think I'll do that like this. With the lift like this. And then I can run the second input across the top like that. Then the final output, I guess I'll just run this way. Yeah, I really like that. It's nice and compact. Now the hard part is stacking the furnaces. I do need to remember some of these need grinders on the ends. So it's 2 furnaces doing plant ash, and the rest need grinders. And that complicates things because the stand does not like to sit on top of grinders, which makes stacking the quicklime a little difficult. It'd be really easy to stack the sage just like this. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of stacking furnaces though. I think the stackable crucible, yeah, this thing, kind of makes stacking furnaces obsolete later on. Because rather than stacking the furnaces on top of each other, I can just stack more crucibles on top of crucibles. That increases the fuel consumption of the furnace because it has more crucibles above it to keep fueled up. But I think maybe for now, I just don't stack them. I just leave everything at the same height. It might be more trouble than it's worth. Well, I know I'm going to need a fuel line here, regardless of what I do. And then this first set is sage. This is all rock. I like how convenient these two outputs are here. Because I could take this whole thing and line it up here. So the sage can just go like this. And the quicklime can just go in right there. That's super easy. Alright, so I'm not going to stack the furnaces. I'm going to move this and line it up here. I need to change the direction on these belts, actually. So wood is going to go this way instead. And then the gloom shrooms can come this way. Now, the easiest way to combine vertical belts is with like a switchback method that looks something kind of like this. So stuff will come in the top, go down, go into there, go down, go into there, down, and then out. This takes up 3 horizontal spaces, which would technically fit right in there. The gloom fungus will go in there, there. I need an elevator here. At that height. And then another elevator like that. Need to flip the direction on this belt. Go into there. And then this top one, the last one here, can go into there. And then that should switch back all the way down to the bottom. And then that all links up here. Everything is at the 120 max throughput of the belts. Yeah, I like this. Then the wood output, I think I'm going to do a vertical to horizontal transition here. So that layer will come out at that spot. This layer will come out at that spot. And so on. So just boom. Boom, and that one there. Boom. So then I get the 4 lines of wood here. Okay, sage. How do I get sage into here? And how do I get rocks into here? Well, I could put the sage on top of itself, like this. Then I would just need an elevator to get the output, like that. And then that can disperse across everything there. I don't think I can do the same thing with the stone, though. All of the stone needs to be made in these crushers here. How many of these do I need? So they produce at 20 a minute. And each crucible will be doing 6.7. So 6.7 times 6 times the 3 crucibles is 120 stone. And if I divide that by the production rate of the crusher, gives me 6 crushers. Oh, I can fit stands here, though. Ah. I have an idea. So I'll get the crushers up here. And then, technically, since it's a 1-to-1 crusher to furnace, I could just do something like this and just drop its output straight down and have it feed its own 3 below it. Like that. That means the input to the coal is actually going to have to be here, so I need to reverse the direction on that belt. Ugh. Okay, I think that got everything. It's getting hard to see what's happening. Then I'll copy from the base stand and just plug all of these in. Unfortunately, now I can't get in to see the belts. So I think I'm gonna have to do this through just blueprinting. Well, I think this is gorgeous. Just need to make a stone input belt here, or a limestone input here. And I'll also need to get fertilizer over to here. But I need a crap ton of purchasing portals here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 4, 20 plus... Well, I guess I could do 1 for all of the crushers. So I'll just go by 20 sigils. So money can flow along the bottom. And then I'll just do the zigzag thing again here. So it'll go up, and then over, and then up, and then over. I think this one I'll just put up on a box. And then the final input is fertilizer. And that... maybe it might be better to just run it across here. Alright, I kind of like that. So I put in fertilizer, money, fuel, money, and I get out a crap ton of wood and fertilizer right here. Now, I think best practice would be to get all of these into a priority splitter and have them all go into a trash barrel. But I could always work that out later. I think what I'm going to do right now... and I don't want this up on the roof permanently. I have enough money to actually buy this now. So I'll get some flooring down to make this look pretty. And now I can start using these pillars, actually. So I'll get one in the corner. I think every 2 is a good spacing. Yeah, and it lines up here nicely. Get a roof on this. And now I have a dedicated location for fertilizer. So I'm going to grab this whole thing here. and see if it'll fit. Let's see. So the wood will come out there. I think up against this wall here. So right about there. Because I need to remember, I'm going to have, actually, maybe some railing would look nice here. Just to keep the villagers from wandering in. And then I need space for this belt. Unfortunately, there needs to be this little kink right here because this column is bigger than the rest for some reason. But I think I'll just continue this money belt right along here. Let's see, on top of that would be the fuel. And for now, the fuel that this is going to take will just come from that original fuel plant. I'll leave the fertilizer producer here, and then, so I'll ship in money and fuel there, and then ship the fertilizer back out over to this plot. Now, there's two ways I can bridge this gap here. I can either use the cannons and shoot the money and fuel across and then shoot the fertilizer back. Or I can actually go up and over like this with some vertical belting. Continue them across and then drop them back down right here. Alright, so now I have money, fuel, and fertilizer over to this plot. I think I will cover this up a little bit more. The direction on this is incorrect. This needs to go in the opposite direction. Because fertilizer is flowing out of this location. And that can very easily be done right here. There is all of the fertilizer out that way. So money, that needs to go into here. And all the way up to here. I think fuel, I'll just run along here. Just like that. And fertilizer, that can come out here. And since this is the first branch on the fertilizer belt, it will be getting 50% of everything it's making. And then the excess will just flow along that way. And since this belt is really long here, it's actually going to have quite a bit of a buffer of fertilizer just stored up in itself. But if you are really paranoid, you can just put in a box here along this belt. But it looks like it's starting to work a little bit. Yeah, I got some plant ash and some quicklime powder. Do we have mushrooms? There's the first gloom fungus. And I want to see, yes, there's the first pieces of fertilizer. I'm still not too sure what to do with this wood. Probably just sinking it in Jupiter's is the best thing to do. But I don't think I have time to get into Jupiter's in this episode. I think redoing the fertilizer is pretty good. So for now, I think I'm just going to put it into some boxes. And I'm gonna do a pattern like this, so that they hopefully fill up a little more evenly. So now all I need to do is reverse the direction on this belt. And I can rip out this whole fertilizer build here. It's completely unnecessary now. So I'll turn it off by just cutting the money line. I'm gonna let it deplete. That way I don't end up with a bunch of crap in my inventory when I disassemble it. And in that case, I might need to redo the Vitality Potion build, since these are kind of linked together. But this looks like it's working wonderfully. I've almost got a full line of fertilizer here. These last couple assemblers are stuttering just a little bit. That's because the mushrooms haven't fully saturated everything else yet. But that is an astonishing amount of wood that I'm going to have to deal with. But with all of this fertilizer, I think I'm going to redo the healing potion, the rope, and the linen. Now that I have vertical stacking as well, I can make these more compact. And then once I do that, that'll probably be the end of this episode. I want to keep things concise, give each episode an identity. So this one will be redoing the fertilizer and maximizing the plant production here. Since the amount of fertilizer I was making here is kind of bugging me, nothing else was really getting done. And then the next episode, I'll get into the Jupiter for sure. I'm going to need to sink all of the wood that the fertilizer maker is producing. That'll be fun to design. And then if I have time, I might also go into the turquoise. And then the episode after that, so episode, 7? That'll be the transformation potion. So to make healing potions, it just takes sage and flax. So I'll come up to my blueprinting area here. I can stack nurseries now. So I could do the sage and the flax right on top of each other. What if I did this? So one output could be there. And then this whole unit would stack vertically. I think I'm overcomplicating this. I just need to go like 1, 2, 3, 4 healing potion builds. Okay, so it takes one input, that being fertilizer, and I get one output, that being healing potions. There's no grinders. Why are there no grinders? How did I forget the grinders? Okay, well, I'm going to pretend like that was intentional. If I put stands here, I think these can stack. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is a little bit more interesting. I can stagger them rather than stacking them. Okay, I might have something here. I don't know. I don't think I like this either. I think the intrinsic problem is the ratio of sizes. So, like, the nursery is quite large, but then the grinders are really tiny. So, when it scales, right, the nursery space scales much more quickly than the grinder space. So I'm just left with all this dead space here. Now, theoretically, one belt can feed 6 grinders, so I could stack them like this and just do like a matrix of grinders. Okay, I'm starting to make some sense out of this now. So this bottom belt here could feed that and that. Then the second belt could be the opposite ingredient to feed those two. And then the third ingredient could be there. And then the top one is the final ingredient. Okay. Yeah, that scales really well, actually. So now all I need to do is plug in the nurseries to their respective inputs to the matrix. So this could be like flax, sage, flax, and sage. So like input 1 would be there. Input 2 could be that. Input 4, or input 3 could be right here. And then the final input just run along the top and come in from this nursery. Okay, now things aren't scaling in different dimensions. They all scale together. And those can be extended that way. The grinders would scale up, and then the processors would scale that way. But this is really simple now. I just have one output and one input for fertilizer. And I could compact this ever so slightly. By stacking the nurseries here. And by changing their plug-in points. So this first one can go into the very bottom belt. This one can go into there on belt 2. And then I can come down for that one, and down for that one. Yeah, so then I could have the flax together here, and the sage together here. And then this could keep scaling however I need it to. Now the question is, will it fit over here? So I'll get rid of the old one. And I copy this. Let's see. It's a little tight, but I think it'll work. Now I can just connect this belt up to the original belt there. And that should double healing potion production. Let's see if this actually works, though. So fertilizer is making its way inside. Sage powder, flax fiber is making its way out. Should see these spin up here. Yep, there they go. Alright, all four are working. These lines here should be completely saturated. And that'll also increase bandage production too. I wonder if that will enable this. I didn't bother with this just because I wasn't making enough bandages to supply this and the shop. But I think with the extra healing potions now I might be able to. So the shop should be getting a lot more healing potions now. There were some people complaining about there being no healing potions. There's a couple there. But that'll help a lot. I really wanted to get that redone, just because it was lacking behind everything else. Now that I have the extra fertilizer from over there, this is possible. I don't think I'm going to bother redoing the rope and the linen in this episode. I'm still letting this drain out here, and then I'll be removing this. I'll do that between episodes. But the two biggest things I wanted to get done, I did get done. That's the extra fertilizer and the extra healing potions. I'll put in a dispatch portal, I guess back over here after the buffer. Try and make some money off of these bandages. And then I'll run the cash that this produces into a bank to convert it into gold, just for compression. That way I don't need to check on this box for a while. Something like that should be fine. So, tech-wise, I definitely have to get into the Jupiter in the next episode, so we'll go Shaper, Jupiter, Knowledge Altar, and Relic Shelf, so that I can actually sell the Jupiters at the shop. I might even get into Gears and Turquoise, just to increase shop profits. Now that I do have a, well, temporary steel build up there, I could do a little bit of gear work. But I need to get a permanent steel build in, and that's going to have to work with the iron build. So I might move the iron, combine it with the steel, and then put it... I don't know if I want to put it down here. I could put it up on the next floor. I think I want to leave space here for Jupiter production. That way it's much closer to the wood here, and I don't have to run these 4 belts of wood up to another floor. But I'll try and get a good shot of my fertilizer build here. And then maybe one last look at the quick little steel build I built here. And then the important one, the healing potion build. But that's good progress for this episode. So, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next episode where we get into Jupiters.